Good morning, guys. Our next step in this whole estate sale, auction, sadness process, I gotta empty out the old equipment shed. Now, some of the things in here are already mine. A lot of the John Deeres and all that are my uncles and my cousins. But some of the equipment is still the estate's. So we got the 14AD8, 5-ton, 60, blah, blah, blah. The family is keeping some of this equipment, but some of it's getting sold. And basically the goal for this weekend is to empty the whole barn out. Like, this is equipment, pallets, junk, garbage, needs done. The whole thing outside and put back what's staying. I think the ag equipment's going to come around from the small side to this big side. Should have been done years ago, really. And the construction stuff that's staying is going to get put on the other side. So I gotta say, this is definitely hard. This is hard to say that some of this stuff's coming out of the barn for the last time, but life goes on. It is what it is. Get the barn opened up and start emptying stuff out. I'm sure my cousin and my uncle will be down here before too long, and yeah, we'll be working on getting this all out. So the auction outside here is online only on Almond Auctions website, and it goes off November 13th. Now there's a bunch of other auctions of all the toys and all the literature, and I'll post those links down in the description. They're all shipping out of Almond's Illinois location, so you just buy online, pay shipping, and they'll ship any of those items to you. But a ton of different rare literature, a lot of old neat construction toys, memorabilia, a whole bunch of signs. But if you look on Almond's site, the Lewis and Erma McMaster estate sale, that's where you'll find it all. And there's also some of the signs are in the fall harvest sale. So I'll try to put the links below. I forget exactly which ones or where they're included, but I think in total there's 5 or so auctions. There's a bunch of different stuff here. So in this video, you'll see us getting all the different equipment out and getting it ready for this auction, cleaning the barn out. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Now, not everything is leaving that you saw us get out of the barn, just the stuff that's kind of in this little lot right here. It packed in a little tight. I got a lot of the little crap out of the way. This is a single cylinder oil test engine, and it's a 3406B, but just one cylinder. And this actually came out of Carnegie Mellon University. It was on a dyno, and what they'll use these for is running to destruction to test different engine oils and how well they last, and then they're a lot cheaper to rebuild because you're only rebuilding one cylinder. But these were pretty common. I guess, like, you know, different oil companies would have their labs just lined up with these, and that's one of the metrics they use to test oil. This is a Cat D315 engine, which is the same as like 7U D4 back there. This came out of a Bay City shovel, I think. I think it's locked up and everything. I don't know. It's going to go down the road. It can go out in the auction lot. Still got the clutch and primary reduction for being used in a shovel, but if anybody needs some amount of parts for their D4 project or whatever, we'll have that. Keep going down the line. This Cat 15 did run at one time. It's been inside, so it's not stuck and everything, I'm sure. I think hopefully we can just come in with a Volvo and scoop it up and take it out to auction row. The 5-ton is not leaving at this time. This is a 1926 or 27, I forget which. So when Holt and Best merged to form Caterpillar in 1925, Holt had the 5-ton and 10-ton and 2 tons, and Best had the 30 and the 60. And Caterpillar kept making both lines there for a little while after they had merged. So you'll find Best 60s and Caterpillar 60s basically before or after the merger. Same with a Holt or Caterpillar 2-ton, 5-ton, 10-ton. So my grandpa had bought these two first when he was still in business moving dirt, and the 60 and the 5-ton have kind of always been around. So very special to my uncle. He wants to keep them, which I'm happy for that. They haven't run in years, so I did get some non-ethanol gas yesterday. I'd like to get these running But at the same time, my main goal today is to empty the barn out, so we may just give them a little towage. This is one of those things where it's like, I like it, but I don't think it's seen the light of day in 15 or 20 years, so that's how much you actually like it. Someone else can have it. We'll see if the forklift will lift at 15. I think it will. Got her dug out a little more. This is a Cat D17000. It's a V8. I know that there was a Manitowoc 3500 down the road that had this engine. I think this came out of a shovel of some sort because it has the clutch, kind of the open gear drive. So I'm not sure. Maybe somebody recognizes exactly what that was on, but these have the old school horizontal pony, like a little guy, like a D4 and a D6, which I think is interesting. When they went to the next series, the D364, they went to the side-mounted pony like a D8 has. Somebody, I think in New Zealand maybe, put one of these in a D7, which turned out really cool. I thought they did a super nice job on it. It's kind of a cool old V8. I mean, as big as this engine is, I don't even think it's 200 horsepower, honestly. Just how big they used to make them. But it would last many, many centuries. I think it might be easier just to grab the Volvo to pull this out. If I just hook that cable to it, lift it, and drag it, we'll just drag it clear outside, and then we can set it up on a couple blocks coming from the side and pick her. Dragging. The old Volvo sure makes big things seem small. So much easier than starting them up. So this guy's going in the stay pile. I guess we'll start stacking them down the bottom. Call this the auction yard behind me. Would I harvest parts off of something? Oh, you just need some knippies? Wonder why the handle left the chat. Yeah, maybe it's on because I had to open the other side. Yeah, it is open. That's a new feature. Will it start? ethanol gas for these guys. Everything's good. This is good. Somehow going in there. Oh God. This is basically almost identical to the Frank Bryan D6 that Kim and Frank and I have. This one's a little bit newer. I think it's a 59. That one's a 53. There really is no differences. Ours is late enough to have a wet clutch, same as this, and boosted steering clutches. This has a cable control in the back for a scraper. Other than that, they're the same. You blowing the tank? Wait. Blowing the gas tank. It's not coming out of the bowl. Well, there was a bunch on this side. Not getting any gas out. There we go. Still not making it down to the bowl now. Should be pouring out in there. There we go. What's that? No. You want to turn it over a little and then I'll shut that petcock? Is that making contact? And it's a pull start. Probably needs the hood pulled off and the carburetor all cleaned out. The joys of gasoline. It'll pull start. Full start with that. Need a pin. Is there a pin up there anywhere for this? Might have it in the RD4 for tie down, I don't know. Found it. So if we pull the 212 out with the D6, then we can just hook that up to the scraper. So the 40 scraper is meant for the D4 there. There's no way this pony motor is going to start either. This is the exact same 212 as Matt's. I think they're only like a handful of serial numbers apart even. We ought to put air in that tire before we try to do anything though. Got to move some crap out the way. My uncle says he wants to keep all this. Kind of surprised by that. Tires aired up. Spot's back in the D6 in now. We're gonna give this a pull starty. Gotta move some stuff. The problem with these pony engines being gasoline is the carbs, even when you shut the gas off, everything gets gummed up. They've been sitting here for years and years without running. I don't even know why I'm checking the pony. We're not starting you. So these engines, this is the same engine as a D2 of the era. I want to say it's a D3400. When the manifolds are on the same side, it's 100, just like a 4600 versus a D318. We've got oil there. Move this crap out of the way. Very important stuff here. All right, I got the parking brake off. We're in third gear. And we got some throttle. Start. Also have no brakes. So these are the old knuckle buster manual controls. Needs a little rain wash, but it's running okay. It needs to work. It's been sitting for a long time. See, everything works up here on the blade and the circle. Scarifier. Circle shift. Yep. Functioning old grader. It seems tiny out here. Yep. Could be yours today. Sounded so much better without the muffler. That is a tight fit. Continuing on our farm auction equipment extraordinaire. You guys have seen us getting some stuff running, getting it yanked out of the barn. The 14A D8 that's here, the blade for it is still up at the National Pike Steam Show, so I'm gonna run up there today and grab it. And rather than get a permit, I'm just gonna try to knock this thing apart. I don't think it should be that big a deal. I'm gonna take the Ford and the black trailer up there, get it knocked apart and loaded. There's also an old pull type ripper. We've always called it a rooter. I'm not sure, ripper, rooter, you know. But it's cable operated, pull it with like a D6 or a D8. And that is part of the estates as well, sitting up there at Brownsville. So we're gonna throw that on the trailer while we're there. Bring it home too. I'm just gonna grab a few more tools than what I have in the bunk. Normally I need a sledge, a big B&O, and maybe some bigger tools, the impact. Yeah, hopefully we have what we need to take this blade apart. So we got all the tools we need and everything, I think. And right now I'm just getting all our paperwork in order. Got to do a pre-trip here real quick on my phone and set our miles for IFTA, and we'll be on the road. The amount of machines here is honestly just incredible when you kind of stop and look around at it, when they're all parked here. The blade we're getting is way back there in the woods. I'm gonna go walk up front now and get the forklift. I think that's gonna be a key component to this endeavor. So you may be asking yourself, why is this blade here? And that's a fair question. The reason is the 14A was here, put together, must have been 15 years ago or so, and that tractor needed brakes. So we took it home. Grampers is still alive at this point. Him and I put brand new brakes in that tractor. It was all good to go. Backed it in the barn, and it never came back. So the blade has been sitting here outside for that amount of time because we intended on bringing the tractor back and never did. So now it's time to knock her apart so we can get it loaded on the trailer. As long as everything moves, I got a grinder. Worst case, we'll nip them off with a grinder, but hopefully we can hammer them through, get them knocked out. Definitely need the grinder for this 4-bolt. Cut that off, knock that pin out. These pins should be, yeah, everything is loose-ish. All right, let's get to it. All right, let's see if we can bend this guy. I don't know. New cotter pins are cheap. All the cotter pins are out now. Let's just drive out the main pins. I think I'm going to take the forklift and just hold a little pressure off to get these guys out. All right, all the pins are out now. I'm gonna throw the push arms on the trailer first, and then we'll just lay the moldboard on top of them upside down, I'm thinking. Once I flop it down, I think we can just hook a chain in here to lift. Really not that bad. So you can see on these older 14A blades, they're actually set up for either hydraulic cylinders on these or the cable on this. Now ours is set up with a cable, but 14As were available with hydraulic blades. I believe there's some here somewhere, I don't know. Even 2Us could be bought with hydraulic blades. It's just that the early ones, I think people still preferred cable. Hydraulics were slow, leaked, things like that. So I feel the hydraulic was a little bit slow to catch on, and a lot of guys still opted for cable blades. All right, let's see if this will work. I feel like that chain is 100% gonna fall off. Stay hooked. Perfect. All right, that'll hold the push arms in. I'm just gonna throw a chain over each end of this thing. And next we're gonna find out if that forklift will lift the rooter. So this is the rooter, and I honestly don't know why you call it a rooter, because to me it's more like a pull type ripper, but I don't know if the forklift will lift it. There's one way to find out. Oh yeah. So you can see this is lifted and lowered by a cable, which would be run off the cable control right here on the back of a tractor, just like the scraper. But to lift it, that cable is just tilting the wheels down, but to lower it, the wheels go like this and let the whole thing down. I'm a little perplexed right now what is holding it here, because I would think you need like a block in this gap right here, unless it's just rust and friction. So I'm going to chain it from this wheel pulling that way, you know, so that it can't, so the tongue can't fall down while we're driving. So I think if we chain that up down to here, that'll keep the wheels out, and then we'll just throw another chain back here, probably just hook right here and pull down. All right, I think this will work. I probably should have had that tooth on a cross member. It's a little creak in the deck. Please survive the trip, little deck. Otherwise, everything's tied down. I'm gonna throw a bungee around that cable, I think, and we're ready to roll. This is a weird feeling. Never gathered things up for an auction before, but these things happen. Now I see what the parking brake is. This here cable clamp. Makes sense. Well, we drove through some torrential downpours on the way back, but now we're here and we have our favorite Volvo. A little nicer machine to unload with than the old case backhoe forklift thing. I already grabbed the rooter, let's grab the blade. Kind of surprised how well you can move these around. Let's get her. Move those chains up there. I'm gonna grab it with the Volvo and lift. That'll stand the blade up. And then we use Forky, come in and put the push arms on. That's the plan. I don't know if being able to move this is going to be a blessing or a curse, but we can always raise it down. Alrighty, that pin that a little tap action. Nailed it! All right, that is the old 14A blade. We need some big cotter pins yet. I'll have to order some of those. The starter. I had it all back together. I started it up. So we were stealing parts off of this when we got Matt's first 46A running. And the starter on these is the same. And that was when we were super confused by, before we knew how his bearings were shot and the flywheel was actually dropped down on the pony. We had taken this one out to try to get that tractor running. But I put it all back together since then. And I think that's when I started. So whenever that was, maybe 2022-ish, we had this thing running last. Big engine oil looked good. Looks like we're dry on gas. The pony oil. Yeah, so this is a 14A, which is kind of between a 2U and the 46A D8Hs. This is still direct drive. You have a clutch, gear drive, but they are boosted steering clutches and a wet clutch, not like a 2U. And now we have one big John. Ain't got no gas in it. Hopefully.
Pretty sure the last one of these I worked on, we had to like blow the gas tank out and
Probably will.
make sure the line's all flush.
Probably gonna have to do just all that same thing, Big John. Oh yeah. Okay, gas is making it to the bowl at least. Let's see if we're getting any gas down here at the carburetor. That is thoroughly Swedish nut lathed off already.
What's the sediment bowl look like?
Well, not too bad.
Oh, we are dripping fuel back here.
Something's dripping behind it.
It's leaking right out of the bottom of the tank.
I think I had to take this all down off the last time I got it running.
You've had this running since that night you put the antifreeze in it?
Yeah, like 2 years ago I had it running.
Yeah.
Hit the button there, Big John, see if we got any juices. Thanks. Give her. See if you can get her going. put the blade on it now.
Sam, I think that's the easiest D8 rescue mission I've ever been on.
I mean, it hasn't been out of the barn, I bet, since 2012, 2013 it got parked in there. So yeah, it hasn't seen the light of day in a while. And the blade's just been sitting up at Brownsville since then, so we brought it home, changed the brakes out, and Grampers and I did that, and he died in 2014, so it was before that, and it never went back. It sat in the barn. So compared to the 46A, the power shifts, this is basically the one generation before them. So this is still direct drive, which a D8H could have been direct drive, but basically still floor mounted steering clutches instead of coming out of the console like the D8Hs have. These were kind of a bridge between the 2Us and the 46As. This engine is basically a 46A's engine, but non-turboed. It's a what is that, a 342, I want to say they are. But you have in-seat start, so you can sit there in the seat, and the clutch and pinion for the pony engine are connected, which is how they are on a 46A. They're just beside the steering levers there. So all that, it's kind of, like I said, it's a kind of a crossover between a 2U and a 46A. The steering clutches are boosted. It has a wet main clutch, so it's nice and easy to pull in. It's not like a 2U that really wears you out. The 14As are a lot more comfortable to run, but they're still not power shift, still don't have those advantages. A 15A was this tractor with a torque converter, and they're longer because of the length of the torque converter. You can kind of see the difference of them. That's a pretty big gas tank. Riveted. Never admired the gas tank so much. Do we have to this is like a vacuum chamber here to lift from the tank up above the carburetor to gravity feed down into the car. We kind of have to prime that sometimes. You have to do that, Scotty? You're the 60 expert.
I don't know. It seems like it always pulled pretty easy. Like we never did that before.
Well,
At Monk's time,
it sat for quite a while though. Well, I mean, even a couple years. I guess we can pull that plug off there and check. Ain't got no gas in it. You got a baby little funnel there, Codge?
super little.
I mean, it's like a 1/4-inch pipe plug.
There was one by the parts washer.
Wait, does this have a dipstick, or do you gotta have like a? Oh, it's got a dipstick, Jimmy.
Oh my goodness. I think it has oil.
It's got Earl. Non-detergent.
Detergent 30.
What about antifreezes? I don't know if these are gonna help you or not. See? Always knippies.
Yeah, it's there.
Perfect.
Up here.
26, right, Scott?
27.
This is 27. I was saying earlier about the 5 ton and the 60 or 26 and 27. I just don't remember which is which.
5 tons the older.
Okay.
This one came from what, like St. Clairsville area? Somewhere in St. Clairsville, Ohio.
The 5 ton was literally rescued out of a scrapyard, about to be scrapped in the 60s. And Grant was traded a set of worn out D9 tracks, I think, for it. Must have been enough weight and just traded out with the scrap guy. I feel like scrap guys today aren't that nice. Once it goes in, it can never come out. That yellow one might be the huckleberry. Oh, buddy.
You're a huckleberry. And I don't mean Finn.
This is gonna take an hour.
It's coming out the bottom.
Oh, who opened it? I thought I closed it. Barrel driven.
Yep.
More faster.
I'm like, it ain't working. He goes, read faster. So this is just basically, this lifts it up out of the gas tank up to this elevation above the carburetor.
Yeah, it's a big float, just like a carburetor to shut it off, gas flow. But
So as long as you get enough gas in here to start everything, should hopefully suck it out of the tank. This is oil in the rocker arms.
Are the push rods external?
No, they're inside there.
Okay,
Like that part's not moving. I think those springs just kind of seat those tube housings. I think, a little earlier than this, earlier than the 20s, they were still, or some of the planes, I guess, were like external push rods like you're seeing. So then this guy is how we turn the gas on to the carburetor. Oh, I guess Scott already did. I see it dripping over there.
I didn't turn it on.
It was on. That's scary. A lot more 60s that have like this style of like a, I guess this is forged. Maybe these are forged steel versus like an extrusion that they just cut them or something like that. I forget how they make like the current style track pads.
Like these would go through like a rolling mill to get that shape.
'Cause I want to say these are forged individually, so these ones were like how the early ones were, but as they wore out and got replaced, they wouldn't have been like that anymore. So they're kind of rare being these style pads. The links they're in good shape. Like you can see how much more adjustments left on that idler. The neat thing on the 60s, you'll notice if we get it running, it moves, but they actually sit on these big springs. See under here? It's like the whole thing, it kind of like bounces up and down on the undercarriage. Well, it's a beam, but it also, like that whole beam can, like where these would be like, well, this has a spring, I think.
Okay.
But even the rigid ones, like the Traxcavator, the Traxcavator is solid rigid, but the other ones that are just hard and pivot, this one's like got a bounce to it. These are typically more ag tractors. This is a construction one because the gas tank is on the right side. Ag ones had the gas tank on the left side, so like you're like looking over your right side.
A couple years ago, pulled the carb off, took it apart and cleaned it. I mean, we've repainted it twice. Jay did that. And there's a lot of shows. Most I ever used it was at Willis Sable. He was pulling his steam engines, like he actually had a big pulling sled come in. I pulled the sled back for the whole day. Just pull it back.
So on these early style magnetos, you were advancing the timing, which is like what the impulse does. Or I think you're retarding the timing, but you manually do that by pulling that lever, and then when it starts, it disengages that. When it starts. So you still have your master clutch, just like a lot of the tractors do. Gear shift. But you start it with the bar and the flywheel. This is your compression release here. And probably a couple clicks on the throttle, like that's about right. You can only pull on every like third one. And they have a black paint mark around them. Gotten a bit hard to see. Like that one's got it, that next one. So at that one, you actually pull it. You just kind of work it around until you get to that one on top dead center.
Remember, one always flooded.
Yeah. Yeah, you can push the float down in the carb to flood it. I don't know if we put enough gas in the vacuum thing though at this point.
Sure.
See how it just backfired?
Yep.
There's stories like that, of that bar going, flying 30 yards across the field.
You're giving her a pull start. Evidently it has some spark. drive fan, no fan belt. Poor thing, we gotta get her running better than that. It used to run so good. I think maybe like new spark plugs and just general tune-up. Scott had the exhaust manifold off and they put new manifold gaskets. The problem is, I think the exhaust manifold needs to come back off and get in some sort of a mill and be decked, because there's still like a pretty good gap here at the back, so they're not sealing super great. You know, it needs love still. And this stuff's all gonna be sitting outside here for a few days while we reorganize the barn, so I'm gonna make sure rain doesn't get in it. You're supposed to stand him up, operator. Why are we on this roll? Man and me had to say, so I know it's gonna be tears flowing out here. Basically, whistling diesel over here. So we got the RD4, Traxcavator, and the 10B. The RD4 and the 10B both ran last year. The Traxcavator, we were saying it was the year Lane was born. It was the year Shaver was born, which was 3 years ago now. Oh, I didn't know it was 49. I'm learning something. I don't need it. I was thinking it was like 50.
It's a Model 10.
A Model 10? So I don't need it.
This is the Model 4. I think these were
Operating engineers, I think.
they borrowed like the Labor Day parade in Pittsburgh.
So you said this thing was started recently, as in a couple years?
Man, last year we had it in Brownsville. Remember we were pulling that little scraper with it?
I think I missed that show.
We came to the wrong Brownsville.
I'm sure some of the people watching this were there.
Frank was there, weren't you, Frank? Got engine Earl? Got Pony Earl? I already opened up our air intake 9000 package. There's no air cleaner on this pony.
So I was admiring the sweet lights this thing has. Sam says they don't work.
They're not hooked up, but we ought to like finish that out. Back in the day, like this doesn't have electric start on the pony, but this is how they would do it. And you had your generator here, and you'd still wire this up to the lights, and this is actually your light switch right there on the generator. That's how it would turn it on and off. But that was, you know, of the 30s. This is a 37. That's how they would do it back then. Where you still didn't have a battery, and you still had DC headlights. Fouled is absolute garbage.
Camera wasn't rolling. Sam was unable to use this gas can. He's getting the other gas can. You know you have like 18 safety cans you could use instead of that one?
Those safety cans kind of suck too. You gotta give, so these are from Canada. Canada still allows you to have vents, unlike this communist country. Last time my dad was up there, he went to Canadian Tire and like bought them out of these. We got, you know, over the border, good stuff. Does it have gas in it now?
That's quite the seat package on this thing.
That's an old John Hans. I think he might have died or wasn't doing too good now, but he used to make it's like beautiful redone seats with like hammering in the brass, whatever you call them, ferrule thingies.
Hand spun at Brownsville.
Hand spun at Brownsville. Tabor's got one made this year. He's looking at it. The guy's like, "You want to make a rope?" Puff had to help hold it. On the pony engine flywheel there. And of course you got no recoil action. And let's see what we want for.
Will this potentially kill someone?
I mean, anything can potentially kill someone. You might not want to stand directly there, Big John. Sounds good.
Just full focus.
Weird. Trying to run on too. I think we might have to do the old injector clean out package or something. Good news is it doesn't make much heat. I don't think it'll melt on there.
Is this the OG Beckwith sign?
I guess that's the OG. I don't know if there's an OG-er one. I don't know if that one's technically right because it seems odd to me that it hangs below the seat, but it's definitely of close to that era. Caterpillar would have had that down here. This probably would have had different holes drilled, if I had to guess up here, but I don't think Grandpa's going to drill those holes in the back of the seat. This was Latrobe Constructions, and they were pretty big in that era. They're out of business now, but I remember riding with him to pick this up at the auction in the LT, and I don't know, I had to be like 12 or 13 years old, and that and a D2, like a carcass of a D2, brought them home and ended up totally redoing this. Had the steering clutches out, all new discs and clutches, similar to what Matt just did with his D4. It's like a lot of the house foundations around us were dug with the old cable high lifts back in the 40s. This is a 1950. It's about one of the latest ones. I think you could simultaneously buy this or the HD4, which was the first hydraulic D4 predecessor to like a 955. And you know, at that time, they were way cheaper than buying like a 10 or a 15B Bucyrus in comparison. So a lot of, you know, small contractors, they'd have these tow behind their dump truck, load their dump truck out digging a foundation or whatever, and move on. The early ones, they had a narrower bucket you know, this wide or so, and you actually had to fight to dig out the corners of a basement. The later ones at least made the bucket as wide as the machine behind it. But they made these for different manufacturers. Traxcavator, Caterpillar eventually bought them out, but in earlier days they put them on Oliver's, Caterpillar's, different brands of tractors. So the magneto was messed up on this when it got parked, and I don't feel like tearing the air cleaner off and everything right now to fix that. So I'm gonna pick the bucket up, pin it up in the air, and then just pull starter.
How's this? Just pull out and put it back in.
Okay.
Sam, are you throwing in the towel?
I'm throwing in the towel. An attempt was made. That's weird, it's like I'm not getting any fuel on it. run, diesel won't run, scrap it. Might as well carry it to the auction row. I put a new battery in here last year. Rebuilt the carb, or cleaned the carb. Rebuild. And still didn't take it to Frank's show.
So, probability of this thing firing up?
0. Have you seen how today's been going?
You know,
Definitely gonna need some help. Will dump truck start?
Carson, I think we should sell it too. That little Morris is a lot nicer than that.
Well, go put it in the lab. What do you said that? It must be positive. I don't know if Jumping Gary's got enough brains to yell at you.
probably overpower the battery.
We're still jumping 6 volt to 12 volt. Give her, Big John.
What's the button?
Right there on that console. You gotta crank it quite a bit for it to get gas in there.
Let's go.
Push it in. I even changed the oil in this last year. I mean, that had to have been like a 15-year oil change interval. Torn apart D4 out back. Got that generator. There's a lot behind the barn still going to go out to auction row. Perfect. Joel, will this cherry start?
But it's always started.
19, I don't even know, 79, let's call it. Correction down here. White road commode, road boss. With a Cummins small cam. I don't know what it is, 335 with the big smoke tune. The automatic anti-rust leaking front seal package. Any living animals in here? Oh yeah, this
fire
is your
extinguisher,
compression
though.
release package.
Oh.
That's it coming, buddy. What a unit. You got your old school 13 speed. The daylight package. The whole cab is absolutely shot. Dump truck things. That's actually in pretty nice shape. Well, that doesn't run too bad. It's a farm unit. All the cross members in the bed, really not too bad on this truck. But it is a running driving truck, got a Hendrickson walking beam. Do have a title for this one. Clean title. Next we have some of your Freightliner with like a 300 max somebody transplanted.
Sam, what happened to this hub over here?
I don't know. Some guy drove that into a dirt pile, I think. I don't know.
I have no idea who that might have been.
Pretty much a fine unit here. It may leave.
I bet you it starts no jump packs required.
Battery doors.
Sam's so confident he shut the battery door. I was mistaken.
There is some amount of life. You don't even need that. Oh, you got an unhappy contact bulb. Melty, melty. Poor little lead is smoking and not happy bulb. The connector from right to left has left the chat. I did saw the leads off the old DSR jump packs, because the jump packs were scrap, but they had good leads, so might need that.
Quick pit stop later. We have all the batteries you'd ever need.
I hate this thing, but maybe it can handle taking a battery off. Would you look at it? Uh-oh.
Thanks for coming to see us here tonight. I will now let Sam take over because I don't know what I'm doing.
Runs good.
She's alive. Buddy.
I'm into that either. Little throttle.
So this is a 6V53 Detroit, and this is a very special test engine. They call it a Giesel. And basically the idea here is this is like the turbine side of a turbocharger, but then directly mechanically driven back to the engine. And it's missing the big jet engine part, but essentially you were dumping in a ton of fuel, making a lot of extra heat after the engine, running a turbo. There would have been another turbo here, and that made the boost pressure here going back. This is the inlet side, so that made the boost pressure going back into the engine, as well as the boost pressure as far as the rocket side is concerned. So this would have been the outlet of that turbo going down some to the engine, and then the rest comes back this way, and this is where they actually injected I guess up there they injected jet fuel or diesel fuel in and made kind of a rocket and made sort of a jet engine there, and then the energy from that was captured in the exhaust housing here, and then that was your exhaust leaving the engine. So this was all an experiment done. A guy out in Ohio was working on this engine, and they had a few of these prototypes, and like I said, they called it the Giesel, and I think that's something to do with basically being a conglomerate of a diesel engine with a gas turbine added on. And the idea was that you could get more power density in a small area. So I think with this 6V53 plus the mechanical advantage of the power being added back in through this gear train here, and this is a dyno is how they were capturing it, I'm thinking they were making like 400 horsepower or something. I know we had some pictures on the wall of the lab this was all in. But unfortunately, parts are missing. We hacked it out of there. Matt and I hacked it out of there last year, and it's probably never going to run again as it is. But I would say it's a very low hour core. If nothing else, it's a good engine. I think it's interesting here. You know, it doesn't have many hours on it, and this is a pretty late two-stroke. But yeah, definitely a 53 series. Yeah. So that Hayco was the name of one of the companies involved, and then / U.S. Army. But it even said how many horsepower this is. Tested at 350 horsepower. So I'm amazed that out of a 6V53 they could get 350 horsepower out of that. That's impressive. But I'm going to keep this nice base for a future welding table. Otherwise, we're going to peel all this crap off and it'll be in the sale.
And on today's episode of Will the Engine Survive Sam, we gave up on finding lift points. We're going to the bottom.
Another unit I'm going to be putting in the auction is this 977H, and it is the nicer of the two, but this one here was given to me, and therefore, obviously, we can't turn around and sell it. I bought this one with the D8H 2 years ago, and I believe I paid $19,500 for the two of them. So you can divide that up however you want. It wasn't any screaming deal. It's a super nice tractor, very, very tight. And you can see here in the loader arms, it's hard to find one as nice and tight as that. Really good machine, pretty good undercarriage as far as that all goes. Pretty nice bottom. Still got some adjustment left. You can see here the sprockets are not bad. One of the very, very few I've seen where this isn't welded, that hasn't blown apart. You can see like this guy's been all welded up. That seems to be the norm. Really nice straight fuel tank, straight toolbox, all that. The only bad news is I took this thing to Brownsville last year and I was playing with it, working it a little bit, and started getting oil in the water. It's just, yeah, it's not great. It's not great at all. But I would say it's either a head gasket or an oil cooler. This is a D333 in here and it runs really well. And it starts and runs and sounds excellent, but it does need work. So there's no sugarcoating that, not hiding anything here. And I don't know, otherwise it's a great candidate to restore. I mean, it is super straight, really nice shape. It just needs a loving home. I'm sure I'm going to take a hit on it, being that I bought it without oil in the water. And now it has oil in the water. So I have done some proofing for you guys and saved someone out there some money who wants to buy this sweet old 977H. It is pedal steer. This is pretty late 977H, being pedal steer, power shift. It doesn't have the third valve for a 4-in-1. It's funny, these two machines are basically identical. I think they're only like 200 serial numbers apart. This one's also pedal steer, has the factory Caterpillar cab, and also the ripper. And this is not a bad machine either. It's just not quite as nice. You can see the fuel tank, the neck's been dented in like I showed down there on the hydraulic. It's been welded. These things happen. We also have all these beautiful assortment of parts. You guys are gonna have to flip through the listings and really check out how great of stuff we have here to offer. Like a pallet of pony engines. That one's a good one. That was on the Bay City. Those two, I don't know. Questionable. That one ran though. And a bunch of random other parts. Some castings and housings. Don't know what they're for. A whole pallet of PT pumps and air compressors from Cummins. Some sleds. You might need a sled. Exhaust manifolds. I think that might be a D13000. Piston and rod from a 630 John Deere. Rich Gun?
I think it's from a D13000.
Oh, just kidding. D13000. You kept your 630 pistons?
No, they're scrap.
Oh.
They're bigger than that.
These tires will fit the Alice Chalmers 40 scraper that's in the sale. These ones, I don't know. I think a couple of them got used on the back of the 60 scraper. Quad box transmission, the old 2-stick. I think it's a quad box. It's either a triplex or a quad box. And yeah, just a whole bunch of random parts here. Really exciting stuff. You got your far air cleaner over here. You got a bunch of new Bucyrus frictions and linings. I don't know what they fit. I'm gonna guess 22 or 30B. Mold headlights, Laterno cable control, and a Cat 25 cable control. Some rusted out fenders for an LT Mac. pretty much they're grouped up just by the pallet. Whatever pallet here floats your boat. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed getting all this stuff out here for the auction. Is kind of unfortunate, but like I said, it needed to happen. Got everything a bit cleaned up around here, and once everything's gone, we'll have a lot more room to put some stuff in the building here. So it is what it is. Life goes on. I'm Sam with Scrappy Industries. Thanks for watching.